I'm going to give you a quick overview of how to use the reading and writing test prep. First, I have a little bit of information up here for you on MobyMax. MobyMax has 3 areas of test prep: language, literature, and informational. Kids go to the test prep icon, click on that, and then there's the other icons come up, and actually there's 4 because one's for math as well. So we'll be focusing on language, then literature, informational. One suggestion was to focus on one skill per week or one area per week. When kids go in and they click in to say language, it's going to have a part that says skills, or it'll have a part that says practice. So a suggestion is have the kids do the skill, and it'll start to work through the different skills that they need that are grade level appropriate for the Common Core. And then if they hit a skill that they don't know, or they answer incorrectly, it will have them teach them a little bit of a lesson, and then it goes back to then they hit the forward arrow again, and it has them continue working through the skills to see. It's like a skill check to see what they know, what they don't know. There is a little progress bar on the bottom of the screen that will show them how far they are in the progress for the test prep. So that's the MobyMax is meant to go over basically the different skills in the Common Core for language, literature, and information. Then the next part I have here is the reading part that has the 15 different lessons for the reading laid out. And then if you go to the bottom, there's going to be the writing, which is laid out for you. And I have basically 7 days. And then on the way bottom, I also put some information for you on the different kinds of responses or questions that they ask on the forward exam, just so you knew what the different ones were. These also refer to other types of test taking as well. I just thought you might be interested in the kind of things that they talk about, and they looked that I got from the different website. So when you're looking at the reading test prep, it's laid out that you have the lesson here on the left, and this is linked to, so when you click on it, it'll go to the presentation, and it'll go to whichever day you're on. So when you go on this, if you want to share something on the board with the kids, you can. It has it right here for you to click through with the basic and main things on there. So the first day, I do have it set up because one of the things that we are doing is preparing the kids for the forward exam, and it is a different kind of test taking than what they're used to with the MAPS. So there is a setup for them to go and do that, and it just basically, I explain, here's your teaching point. Readers learn the format of the test by watching videos, knowing the different types of test sessions. Here's the things to review. There are 4 different test sessions that they're going to take, and then it talks about the different tools. There's a link to get you right to the site then. I'm just telling you that 3rd grade, the ones that are in blue are the ones the 3rd grade do in this thing. So when you go either here, you can link to it, or if you're in the presentation and showing it to kids, you can go over, here's the different kinds they're going to take so they know, and then click on the thing to get into the DPI site, click on students, and this goes over, it's about maybe 20 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, of the different tools, so the kids get used to using the tools. It will be very helpful for them to use the different tools when they are taking the test. So here's the ones, you want to go through these on the left in the general testing, and then advanced tools. So for 3rd grade, you'll see that you want to do the ruler, you want to do the equation builder, and you want to do the writing prompt. So this kind of just, when you click on it, shows them, gives them a little audio.
Some questions will require that you respond to a writing prompt
For the kids to go through that tell them what to do so they know what to expect, because we know if kids are more prepared and know what to expect, they will do better. Then the next starts going into the different areas to help them become more comfortable with taking a test. So I sort of build on the different skills and took these from various different places that I saw skills that were suggested for test taking. So here's the teaching point, for instance, in the next lesson for day 2. It says understanding text directions. So this will tell you what the teaching point is here about that. Then here are some basic information things that you are sharing for and about the test directions and things that they need to pay attention to. So these are the things you're going to explain to the kids and then use to demo with the kids as well. Over on the right hand column are all the materials, so you can click on them and they will show you right here what they are. So when we're talking about different directions, for example, here are different ones. I kind of looked for different types of directions I saw. Directions that are followed with text, so they know what that looks like. So I was just showing them different things. And then I have an actual text for them where there's directions at the top about reading the passage. Here's the passage, and then a couple questions for them to answer. Whether or not you want to have them actually answer these particular questions is up to you. It's meant to show them the different kinds of things that they would be doing, so they get familiar with directions. One of the things they found is that with kids is that sometimes it's not that they don't know the actual skill of the test, it's that they don't understand what the test is asking. So I tried to gear this so kids are really looking at what is being asked in the different questions and take practice in that. So then so here's the, explaining, the I do, here is the we do is when you're demoing it with them and having them look at it using the this text. And then there's a student practice text. This might be the one that you'd want to make a copy of if you want kids to do this one on their own. This is where then they actually would practice. They'd read it, read the text, and answer the questions. You can again decide which ones you want to use. I tried to put a lot of different types of questions in with the things that they have so that they're practicing. So this is the layout here so you know how it is. And then on the slide, it's here. I tried to put everything in if you want to use the presentation. So here you go. Here's your day 2 again. Here's the teaching points. You would say to the kids, readers become familiar with the test directions by knowing what terms mean and restating the directions in their own words. So let me show you what I mean. In other words, there's some terms that we need to know when we're reading directions of a test. For instance, passage, text, selection, and story. Those are different things that they refer to when we are talking about reading things. It's also important for us to recognize the genre of what we're reading. So oftentimes they're going to say fiction or nonfiction. Then, so let's take a look at some of the directions. So let me show you. Let's look together. If we look here on the different directions, you'll see I have it linked. Here's some examples. So if you look right here, you can see that we have examples of just different directions. So it might say something like read the story, or read this passage, or read this selection. Those are all referring to the text down there, the little story that's down there to read. The other thing that you want to pay close attention is to looking at this. Here's some things. Can you see here we're on these particular questions? Whoops. It is saying read the sentence from the paragraph of the passage. Here's the sentence, and now they're going to ask you a question of it. So sometimes they take part of the text and put it right in there. So you want to make sure that you understand that they're referring actually back to that selection you just read. Can you see down here? What are they doing down here? And you might ask the kids about that and have them with that. Then go back and say, okay, let's try this together. Let's look. What do we notice about this? So you might say to the kids, okay, what is the word that they're referring to? What do you see in the directions? Oh, we are reading a passage. It's called a passage. What's the passage? Jackson's Day. Okay, great. If you look at the different questions on below, notice how this is saying, what is the main idea of the passage? You might say to the kids, what are they referring to? Jackson's Day. And then you might go down to the bottom and say, well, let's look at question 3. Look at, there's some lines they're talking. Where do you see those? Do you notice where those lines are? And then you might show the kids, here it is up in the text where they find it. It's actually up here is the text that they were referring to in getting a question. So that just talks about, again, what we want to remember is to pay attention to directions so that we're reading them very carefully. All right, let's all try. So when you go off, you're going to get the text. You're going to read dolphin text, and which is here if you want to show the kids what it is so they know what they're reading. And then go back and you're going to read the directions, read the text, read the questions, and answer, and then we'll come back and read it. So then they're going to go off and have a chance to actually practice reading that and see how they do. So they're going to get several different times to try different questions. There's that lesson. So and so there were all the pieces again here. And that's what it is. So that's the basic setup of what I have. So when we go down, we'll just pick another one. I'll go down and say, here are questions, day 9. If you want, you click on this, it'll take you to the lesson for what it is and go to day 9 so that okay, we're going to talk about right there inferring questions. This is meant to give you some background here. So here's the teaching point that we're doing. Readers, keep in mind that some questions are answered directly in the test while others need the readers to infer the answer. So, that's what you're going to talk about. So I just gave a little background for you that some questions are required to look back at the text. Others are right there. Other questions require a reader to put ideas together. The reader needs to think about the test, read between the lines. It's not going to be right there. One has to think about it, that whole idea of what inference is. There's a demo piece here, animals and their tools. Questions 3 and 4 are questions to look at and talk about. Are they inferring or are they right there questions? And again, dinosaur fleas, questions 6, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you won't necessarily do all the questions. You're just pointing out the types of questions that they have. Here's the practice piece down here for you where the kids then would actually read the piece and practice answering them. So part of this lesson is to get them aware of what kind of thinking they need to do. So then now, okay, I've read it, so now I can go and try the lesson. So here it is. I'd share that with the kids, go over the teaching point with them, explain what a right there question is to them, explain what an inferential question is, and I have a little things on here to help you with that. And then here we go. Here's some examples of inferring questions from animals. Whoops, sorry about that. Animals and their tools. I believe this links to that document if you wanted to go to the actual piece. Here it is. Otherwise, I did stick it on the thing for you. So you can see right here in this passage, the use of tools by chimpanzees is related to, or which sentence from the passage gives the example. So it kind of shows them where they have to, where one can kind of be a little bit more right there, and the other one is a question that is inferential. These are actually, they're both inferential, sorry. And that how they look, because you can see sometimes it's a question, sometimes it's a statement. So that kids realize that sometimes they have to think about it, even if it is that way. And then here are what I took was the dinosaur fleas and just took out those different questions to show this is the different kinds of inferential questions that we might see in our thing. And then this is time to practice. Take note, let's try it, let's see how they did. So it's again, getting them practicing those different things. So that's the different types of things. So I go over different questions. I talk about relationships, cause and effect, comparing and contrasting. We do some short answer responses. And then we talk about main idea, predicting. So some of them, like for instance, with predicting, this lesson might not be as long because we're just talking about how they make predictions. And, they want to read the title, look over the features, and then think about what do they think this text is going to be out to get them prepared for reading, that it's a really good idea to do that. That helps giving them an idea. So we're here using 2 demo texts, Amazing Ocean, One Lake, One Home. So sometimes there's going to be a text like One Lake, One Home we had actually looked at before, and the same with An Amazing Ocean. So they've actually already read them and they've already talked about them, but this is a great opportunity for them to go back in and see, okay, what kinds of things do we look at now when we're looking at this text, Amazing Ocean, that helps get us the set? Well, we look at the title, we look at the, what we saw here. How did that help us? We look at maybe some of the words, those things that help preview. So this particular lesson is not a super long one. Most of them have an additional thing. You can see as I got further down, I did a little bit less with the text that way, just because we've been doing, so much. So I kind of hit it a little bit heavier in the beginning and they get a little lighter later. When you get down to the writing one, the first day is meant to just kind of explain to them the process of what the reading is. So I'm just kind of giving you things to talk to them about if you choose to before, and you can show them the actual rubric. I found the rubric that is used for the forward exam. In my opinion, this is pretty complicated for third graders, but it just is a great thing to kind of explain to them that there are pieces they want to make sure that they have in the piece and what that means. Some of this is for you to understand as well. So you can decide if this is something day one that you how much of that you want to cover with them or not. The big thing with the writing is that it is a longer writing piece and that we want to make sure kids are answering those questions thoroughly and that they're taking the time. We just found in some grade levels that like in 5-10 minutes they were done writing and then they didn't score as well because they didn't have everything in there. So this kind of talks about the different kinds that there might be, what they might be looking for, which is similar to what we've been doing in Reader's Workshop. Then if you look here for day 2, we have readers practice using the skills for a response. It explains here that the first one they're going to do is an informational passage. They get 30 minutes. Now, on this particular exam, they actually don't have a time limit, but it is recommended to get them used to using a shorter period of time. And then if you click, I have the readings that they need to read that are modeled just like and these are the 3rd, 4th grade pieces that they had as examples. And then I also have the question. I took that and put it in. So when you are explaining the test to the kids too on that day 1, you could use this too to kind of show how they plan, focus, and proofread, and get them set up for that. This would be a great sheet too to use as well to help them. And then here I have a question here, whoops, that you can see that they're going to write an essay. And then the next day, I have the sheet for you so that you can kind of show the kids, here's the response of a 4. Notice how much longer that is, how much more in depth that is, as opposed to a response where a kid scored a 2 or a 1. And they tend to give a couple different examples, which is really great, so you can kind of see the difference. So this gives kids a chance to have 2 fiction, a nonfiction one, and then then I picked another fiction reading from another source that I found that modeled the same situation. So that's how I have it set up. If you have any questions further on how to use the unit, let me know. I'm happy to come and model anything or put things together and help you. So I hope this was helpful.